Welcome everybody to Cooped Up, a podcast where Ethan and I talk about all things Mini. This week's episode, new Minis. We got a lot to talk about with the new Mini updates and also how the new Mini was created from the old Mini from the Rover Group and when BMW acquired that. So yeah, my name is Nick and I am the host of the Mini Vlog YouTube channel. You can find me on Instagram there as well. And joining me is Ethan. He's got a great YouTube channel called Car Creations YouTube, also on Instagram. Ethan, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. So my channel is Car Creations on YouTube, and then if you search for me on Instagram, it's just at Car Creations YT.
Nice. Yeah, and you guys have done some pretty cool stuff lately with the clubman that you have to make it a little more bit of an off-roader. It's been a pretty exciting series to watch on your channel. I'm very jealous of all the upgrades that you've been doing, so
yeah,
keeping a close eye on that.
It's been pretty fun.
So this show is going to be about all things Mini. So we're going to start off with a brief story about how the new Mini came to be. So the story starts in 1994 when BMW purchases the Rover Group, and that kind of sets off this little chain of acquisitions from German car companies. We see Mercedes purchase Chrysler, and then we see Volkswagen kind of consume everybody else to become the gigantic Volkswagen group we know of today. But BMW started that off with the purchase of Rover in 1994, and they had the intentions of going in to look at the Mini model and see what they could do with that. And so when they arrived at Rover, they were relieved to see that the designers and engineers at the Rover Group had also been tinkering with designs of upgrading the Mini Cooper model, because it's been largely unchanged for 30 plus years at this point.
Gracious.
It was not a safe car, as you can imagine. There weren't any safety features. I think in the early 90s they added an airbag to the driver's steering wheel, but side curtain airbags or anything like that weren't really a thing. So the emissions were also pretty bad. It was an older engine. The Rover engine was largely unchanged throughout its lifespan. I think they went from naturally aspirated to forced induction at one point, but it was still a very small, underpowered, and older generation engine. And the suspension was also lacking in modern day terms. I mean, it was great for when it was invented back in the early 60s, late 50s, but nowadays in the 90s, it was falling behind the times. So BMW gets into there and sees this was, on the back of the minds of the Rover Group. They were very relieved. So they tell the Rover engineers, go ahead and come up with designs for a new car, and they're going to call this Project R59, which is interesting because then it jumps back to R50 a little bit later on in the project. But it started as an R59, and BMW also had some of their engineers in Germany and some from the US also start to tinker with the design of what a new Mini could look like. And so they set a date for 1995 to have a conference at the Heritage Motor Center to compare the results from all the different design groups and see what they came up with for what a new Mini could look like. Naturally, the Rover Group had a little bit of an advantage because they'd been tinkering with this for a couple of years and also had 30 plus years of experience. However, the BMW execs were really excited to see what the US group could come up with, because they were coming at it from a completely fresh perspective and weren't trying to recreate the wheel there. They were going to start with a completely blank design. So it was going to be an interesting meeting, as you can imagine. And when they do end up meeting in 95, it's a little bit contentious. The Rover Group obviously wants their design to go forward, but the execs at BMW saw their design as being a little bit too ahead of the times, which is quite interesting. Coming from the Rover Group that had been stuck in the past for 30 years is now ahead of the times in terms of their design.
I wonder what that looked like. Are we able to see what that looks like? Did they ever leak that or something?
Yes, actually they did, and I'll get to that in a little bit, and I'll put up some pictures of what those designs look like. Yeah. they were interesting. They were a little bit all over the place in terms of designs, yeah. So in the end, BMW kind of assembles the team this way. They choose David Saddington, which was the Rover Mini had designed at the time, to lead the project, but they chose the American Frank Stevenson to design the exterior of the car. And then Tony Hunter and Win Toms are set to design the interior of the car. And so it's kind of this collection of different parties spread all over. And at this point, they renamed the project to R50, which would become the first newer generation model. So around 96, about a year into this development, they realized that they need to bring all of these groups of people back to one place. So they hand the project back over to the Rover group and consolidate it under one roof, so they're not working all over the place. Again, this is probably before Zoom existed, so it's probably a little difficult to have conference calls and share your work with each other.
Yeah, a little bit different.
Yeah, I guess you'd be sending early emails, probably not with pictures at that point.
Yeah, probably still faxes, let's be honest.
yeah, that's probably right. So yeah, it's back in-house at Rover Group, and they're planning to use the K-Series engine, which is the latest Rover engine. Again, it's still a little bit outdated, but that's what the Rover Group decided. But then all of a sudden, BMW announces that they're going to source a different engine from Brazil, which was done in collaboration with Chrysler. And this new engine would not suffer some of the same warranty and reliability issues that the K-Series engine had already been known to have. And this was actually also a smaller engine than the K-Series engine, so it fit better in this really small, tight package, which is kind of hard to believe that there was a engine size issue from the Rover Group, who'd been building these tiny little engines for years.
They're just urging themselves to go bigger.
Exactly, yeah. So at this point, the Rover Group, it's a lot of back and forth between BMW and the Rover Group, and this is when BMW starts to leak these alternate designs that were kind of brought up in that 1995 summit. And the reason they do this is to get the reactions of the crowds at the Geneva and Paris motor shows to see how they react to these kind of wild, outlandish, futuristic designs, in hopes that they get negative feedback to kind of reassure that they chose the right design. Like, the public hasn't seen the actual R50 design. They're seeing these other designs that are called spiritual and these other coupes that are two-seaters, and the crowd, most of the reactions are kind of negative on these cars. So BMW thinks they're on the right path based off of these negative reactions to these crazy designs, and it kind of reaffirms to them that they had chosen the right design, and they obviously go on to prove that when they actually announced the car and put it on sale in 2001. So interesting design or marketing tactic there too. It kind of drums up a little bit of noise about this, and I guess there's no such thing as bad press, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Put out these crazy designs and see what happens.
That's actually kind of interesting because BMW just recently released, or I guess Mini, I think it was like some weird like van version of a Mini, and my personal opinion, it was nasty. It was basically like a studio apartment on wheels.
Right.
So
right. I saw that, and it had nothing to do with the Mini. I felt like besides the badge, it's like what is this? But yeah, interesting. Good point. Maybe they're doing the same tactic there. Where
let's hope.
Let's hope that's the case. So that's from 95 to 97. They kind of tease these alternate designs and get this feedback. And then in 1999, the project's getting close to finishing because they're going to launch this car in 2001. BMW all of a sudden takes back the project from the Rover Group, brings it back to Germany, and starts to make some last-minute tweaks to the car, which is, again, upsets these older Rover engineers and designers, and it's just a lot of back and forth over this project. It's being handed back and forth and taken away, and all these changes. So it's an interesting arc for sure about how this car was designed and who was in charge of it at what point. Now hearing this, I'm surprised that the car actually came out and was successful, being kicked around and punted around to between groups all this time.
Yeah.
So then 2000 rolls along, and BMW disposes of the Rover group, but extracts the Mini group kind of as its own brand at this point. And this is where we get the Mini brand, MINI, all in caps. And BMW makes it its own brand right before it's about to launch this new model called the Mini Cooper, which is based off of the Rover Mini Cooper from the 50s to early 2000s. And right as they do this, they go to the old Oxford plant where Mini was originally produced for a little while, but it hadn't been produced there for many, many, many years. And they completely remodel the plant to be updated with more robotics and stamps and paint booths and stuff like that, in anticipation for producing the Mini once again at this plant. So it was quite a busy year for BMW from '99 to 2001 with all these changes and quickly launching this car. So then 2001 rolls along. The car is announced, shown at motor shows. It's got a pretty positive reaction, and it goes on sale in 2001. And it still keeps the wheels at the corner of the car, which everybody was happy about. It has a clamshell hood now, which was different from the original. The clamshell allows for that really tight packaging of that engine in that small footprint. And the car is bigger by about 2 feet, but it's still relatively a small car in comparison to many other vehicles out there. It now has many new safety features, airbags all around, some crumple zones, some stiffening of the doors and C pillars and A pillars and whatnot. And it has an all aluminum engine. The K series was an aluminum head with a cast block, so it goes all aluminum engine. Originally it came out with 90 and 115 horsepower variants, and it's said that this is the same engine that was seen in the Dodge Neon. So interesting fact, this shares an engine with a Dodge Neon, the very first generation. My cousin had a Dodge Neon, and we thought that was a cool car when we were 16, 17. But yeah. We also get a multi-link rear axle, which is a drastic improvement in terms of suspension and handling. Disc brakes at all 4 corners of the car, and we get the contrasting roof, so you can get it in white or black with the matching mirror caps to contrast the actual body color. This is the story of how the new generation Mini was kind of first conceived and tossed back and forth and launched and kind of it goes from there. It was a successful launch. Critics liked it. It was shortly updated with an S version a few years later, but overall, I think it was considered a successful relaunch and rebrand of the Mini.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, from even till now, they haven't really changed that much of it. Other than size, obviously, they've grown considerably. But if you were just to look at one and then look at the other, you wouldn't see a huge amount of differences.
Yeah, no, I agree. They've kept it pretty close to the same, which is appreciative.
Yeah.
And hopefully, and we'll talk about this in a few, the 4th generation might even get a little bit smaller, which will be cool, kind of back down to that R50 size. But yeah, that's the story of how the new Mini was created.
Thank you very much. That was super cool. I don't think I've heard the entire thing before, so there we go.
Cool. All right, and so with that, let's pivot over to the news. And Ethan, what do you got in the news for us?
Awesome. Thanks so much, Nick. So we're going to have 2 news stories. And we'll start with one of lesser excitement, I would say.
Yeah.
So the first news story is the headline is BMW shuts down innovative Mini Yours customized service. So when I first saw this, I wasn't exactly surprised it was happening, but I guess I just didn't think it would happen quite this soon.
Yeah, what has only been about 2 years since they actually started that service? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even get to buy a new car to even take advantage of getting something printed.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think from what I was looking at, it started in 2017. So yeah, rats. Oh well.
Yeah, a little disappointing. I do like that 3D printing technology and whatnot, but yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, and I thought just in case anyone didn't exactly know what it was, because when I first read it, I was like, oh no, we're not going to get any more like, I don't know, carbon fiber bits for my car, but really it just was 3D printing personalized pieces for customers' minis.
Right.
And so a customer could get really anything that they wanted written on it. So like, obviously within reason, and then they'd 3D print them. So I think it was LED door LED door sills.
Yeah.
And then interior trim on the dash, kind of like I think what you have on your GP3.
Yep.
Where it says 0001 or something like that.
Right in the passenger, right above the glove box area, right?
Yeah. Where that secret compartment used to be.
Yeah. They need to bring that back.
Yeah. And then the other one was the exterior turn signal inlays.
Right.
So, yeah, and they could choose anything from red, blue, black, and white.
Oh, cool.
But, yeah, I guess.
And you could kind of submit your own artwork, I believe, right, for that?
Yeah, you could have anything, literally anything on it, really, as long as it could fit and it wasn't something nasty that would go against Mini. So.
Oh man, that's a bummer. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and once you own the equipment, I guess maybe they didn't own the equipment. They probably subcontracted with another company to print those. But yeah, that stinks. That's unfortunate.
I think I read there's like 3 companies they outsourced it to. One of them being HP, which I read doesn't do stuff like that as much anymore. So that could be part of it.
Right. Maybe the partners stopped it too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it could not even be them, but. I was trying to go through different reasons as to why like it might not been as successful as they might have thought, and I went through like Facebook and Instagram and a bunch of things. I even was thinking back to when I went to my Mini dealer last, and I actually hadn't seen any cars with it on it.
I've never seen it advertised at any of the Mini dealers that I've been to, and I've never really seen a proper commercial for it. So I think not many people even knew it existed. Us true diehard Mini fans knew it existed, but if I asked anybody else, like my parents or my siblings, if they heard about it, they would have no idea that you could get a 3D printed part for your car, customized for your Mini at all. So I kind of feel they didn't advertise it as well as maybe they could have. I'm sure they put in an effort, but I'm not sure it was as successful as they wanted it to be.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame really because like no other car companies do that.
No.
But I guess the Mini aftermarket community, which is quite big for any one car brand, will probably pick it up from here. So at least that's good news.
Breaking news, there's a new market to get into now. Get a 3D printer, and I'm sure we can find a source file for these parts online and start customizing Minis for people. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. So basically I guess either it was under advertised or maybe someone I was thinking more about it myself, like whether I would want something on the side of my car with my name or what I name my car or whatever. And I guess it came down to the fact that even me personally, I would kind of prefer like a JCW branded part or like an Alcantara in the inside or like piece of carbon there. It just makes your car maybe feel a little more premium, and people prefer premium maybe over like customizable, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So
yeah, I could see that. It doesn't look as premium. But I mean, my 3D printed dash in the GP, it does feel nice. They do use high quality stuff, but again, without ever seeing this in any dealership or in real life, how would you know? I mean, just from the pictures alone, it kind of looks a little rigid, plasticky. But I'm sure it's better quality than what it actually looks like. But. Yeah.
So I guess. Oh well.
Yeah. Bummer. Yep.
Yeah. I thought going back to what I said before, where I wasn't exactly surprised, but I just thought they'd wait a little bit. I thought that it would come out with a new G series in 2024,
mm-hmm.
but I guess they decided that now would be a good time with the news of this new facelifted Mini, which brings us to our next mini story, which is we have a new Cooper range, all completely facelifted. And they did everything from the F56 3-door, the F55 5-door, and then the F57 convertible. So yeah, they look pretty sweet there.
Yeah, I really love that multi-tone roof on that electric S that they're showing there. How do you feel about the handlebar mustache grill that we now have? I've been getting mixed reactions from friends on that one. What are your thoughts on it?
So it's funny. I looked on Instagram, like everyone and their aunt does a poll about it, and basically it's like 50-50, which I think is going to be true for any facelift, or anything new, really. Personally, I don't mind it. I think it does give the Mini a little bit more of a sadder look as opposed to the more cheeky, playful look it had before. But maybe it's just Mini growing up. As my brother put it, it's more BMW.
Yeah.
With all the hardened piano black and all that kind of stuff, which once again it looks more modern, so maybe that's not a bad thing.
I feel like it might be a kind of also a hint towards what the G series could potentially have, and maybe it'll help ease us into kind of more drastic changes to that G series. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, no. I think there was a leaked picture online which could have been a very early prototype for the G series, and I noticed that the steering wheel is exactly the same on that as what we see here. So it's very possible that they're just trying to help us get into the mindset there.
Right.
One of the things I do really love about the front is actually the side profile. So side profile, it's almost like completely flat once you get past the lights. I don't know if that document there has... Oh, there we go, yeah.
Yeah.
Which harkens back to, once again, the older Minis that everyone likes. So it's kind of funny. The thing that they changed to try to go back because everyone was complaining about it is the thing that people don't like. So.
Yeah. No, I did read some articles that said that were able to actually shorten the front a little bit with the change here, and also the removal of those fog lights. Which now are air vents that create air curtains around the wheels, around the tires for better fuel economy. Which I think that's pretty cool. I like that. We're incorporating some engineering and technology into that. And I do. That's a great point. I didn't notice that. It is a much flatter front end, which is much desired, at least in my opinion, for sure.
Yeah, and best thing about vents is that in this case they're real. Which is, yes. I'm all for real vents.
Yes. Death to the fake vents.
Yeah.
I agree 100% on that one. Yeah.
Although, talking about fake vents, the new side scuttles, it's like that weird BMW plastic that kind of looks like a vent that isn't. So, I guess you win some, you lose some.
Yep. Can't win them all, for sure. Yeah. What about the interior? What do you like or dislike about the changes to the interior at this point?
I think the steering wheel does look less sporty, which is unfortunate. It looks like the buttons on the steering wheel are tactile buttons, which I don't know. When you're driving, it's kind of annoying, but I'm sure whatever will get used to it.
Yeah.
However, that entertainment system looks amazing.
Yeah, I agree with that. The ambient lighting around that center console, I think, is going to be pretty cool. I'm really glad they didn't remove that. I was really worried they were going to remove that. So
same.
That's going to be cool. And you do see this already in some of the 2020 Countrymans, where it's got this all flat, no raised buttons interface in those as well. So I'm really excited to see that come through. We also have some new standard options, right? We get the LED headlights as standard now. And they're awesome.
And instead of chrome on the interior of them, that's like fog chrome. I can't remember the exact term it was.
It's a much darker
but that looks better.
look. I agree.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
Same with the taillights, which I think your GP has the more fogged out Union Jack taillights as opposed to what my JCW has. But
Yeah, I think those are steps in the right direction for sure. Heated steering wheel. I know for people like you and me that live in colder climates, I'm excited for that. I know it's not super cool for those people in warmer climates, but I'm stoked for that.
Yeah, but it's one of the things that Joshua, my brother, always says when he compares his BMW to mine. He's like, "Well, I have a heated steering wheel." So
nice. Well, you just did a steering wheel upgrade too on your Clubman. So
I know.
Now you're gonna have to do it again when this one comes out and put in that heated steering wheel.
Yeah. The more I look at the interior, I'm like, I wonder if that's retrofittable. I wonder if that is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna say the JCW. I actually like everything of it. There's not one bit I'm like, I'm not sure. Like the front grille is bigger, but it still looks like a JCW, and it's still a nice looking grille.
Yeah.
And then the rear
diffuser
is like, it's like pulled off like a Supra or something. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I think all the parts of the JCW, I agree, are great. They look awesome. That front grille, I think I want to see it with a red body and see what it looks like. But I still think it'll look really cool because I think it remains black. Do you know if it matches the body color like the S and regular models do, or does it?
So I don't know if I sent them to you, but I went and poked my way around the configurator for it would be in the files area. I went and poked my way around the German configurator, and I managed to, by guessing, customize a different color other than the green that they had. And so it was like this. I just chose a blue color with the 3-tone roof, and it remains black with the red stripe. So it looks pretty good next to it.
Nice. That's exciting. Yeah. That JCW, man, it looks sharp. If I didn't have a GP, I'd be very tempted for a LCI.
Yeah.
This is the second LCI. Which I believe stands for Life Cycle Improvement, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
I'm sure we'll get corrected in the comments, but I think that's what it is. So this is the second one for the F series F56 model. So not originally planned, I don't believe. I think they wanted to be on the 4th gen by now, but life happens. So
coronavirus.
Yep.
I think my 2019 JCW was the first LCI model, so that's when they came out with the nice headlights.
Yes, and which meant you didn't have to change your taillights from the circles to the Union Jack ones. Oh, that was a process. Glad I didn't have to do that with the GP.
I think that's how I originally even saw your channel was when you started that process there.
that was a scary process for me. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna brick this car in the closest dealer. It's 3 hours away, and it's gonna have to be towed. But luckily, it worked out. So we also back to the interior. We also have some flatter vents. We don't have we still have the kind of circular ones on the outside. But the ones towards the center are kind of flush with the dash now. It kind of looks like they just took the vents out of the newer Clubmans and Countrymans, so it's not horrible, but it's okay in my opinion. Yeah,
it's like they're trying to make the car grow up a little bit, which is understandable.
Yeah. No, they've evolved each one to be a little more premium, a little more grown up, so that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm really glad the toggle switches have stayed. I don't ever want to see those go.
Yes.
Those are one of my favorite features of the Minis since the inception of the new one is those toggles. And I know some people that mention that they don't like them, and I just don't understand. I was like, this is what makes the Minis unique and exciting and different. These toggle switches.
Buy an Audi or a...
something. Go get a Volvo, but
I did notice, however, that they got rid of the parking brake. It's just one of those nasty electronic ones. So
yes, I did see that. I was talking with my buddy as well. We were talking about how do you rip e-brakes in a snowy parking lot now with the electronic one. I'm sure the community will figure that out, some way to mod that to make that work. But initially I think we're going to be no e-brake turns for a while.
Yeah. Well, that is the nice thing about facelifted models. If you don't like something about it, you can really take something from an old F series and you can bring it to the new one, or take something from the new one, bring it to the old one, and yeah, really with a little bit of coding and some effort, you can do anything. So
Yeah.
that's one of the nice things.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, these are all on the same platform, so yeah, you can swap parts from 3 different small generations now to make the car you want.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was that's pretty much all that I had for the news. But I was gonna thought it might be cool just to ask what your favorite feature was, because my personally was the entertainment system, but I was just kind of curious to see what yours was.
Yeah, I mean, I like the entertainment system. I want to see what those widgets actually are, because I really want the ability to put the speedometer on the center console. It's kind of, paying heritage to the, the R50 and R53s and whatnot, where the speedometer's in the middle. And there's no reason that can't be done, right? It's a computer there. You can put whatever you want on that. And you still have the speedometer in front of you, so it's not like that's your only speedometer. I am disappointed, though, that there's still no official word on Android Auto. The BMW and Mini's take on Android Auto has always been frustrating to me. Why we can't have it. I've heard some rumors in the past. I don't have any official words, though, but I've heard that they were concerned about the data that Android collects and sends back to Google. But that's I already made that choice by choosing that phone. I don't know if that's the reason, but that's my choice to make. I don't think that's their choice to make, but it does have Apple CarPlay, so cool for the Apple folks. But us Android fans like myself are still out in the cold.
Yeah, that's why I ended up buying an iPhone, was because of that.
Yep, frustrating.
But it's weird because all it is Mirrorlink, which basically just mirrors that image off screen. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
and the infotainment systems in the cars are so slow to change that you're never.
Yeah.
Unless you're getting a Tesla, you're really not getting an update to your infotainment system.
Yeah.
Whereas the phone ones are changing. Can change every week and an update to, better improvements, safer practices, whatever. It just doesn't make sense to me why we don't have that option yet. Hopefully they'll come out with it soon, but I know that the BMW system does allow for it. So hopefully that'll trickle down to the Mini system one day.
Which I drove, before I started YouTube, a G series. I can't remember what it was, some BMW G series, and it had this same layout where you had almost like an infinity scrolling on the screen.
Right.
Which this Mini has the same thing. So maybe that they're on the same iDrive version now. That maybe Android Auto will come.
Yeah, that's the rumor I've been hearing. It's a reskin version of their iDrive. Of BMW's iDrive, so yeah, hopefully we'll see that soon. But yeah, I'm excited to see the widgets. But to answer your question, I think my favorite feature is the multi-tone roof. I really want to see that in other colors as well. I think a red one would look really cool, especially on a JCW model. So yeah, what about you? What were your favorite features from this LCI?
Definitely the screen, but I think that rear diffuser on the JCW was pretty sick. So yeah, I know, it's just something. I like how I love how they can make the car look and feel completely different on the JCW. Like, I drove a Cooper S for a few years, and as instantly I jumped into JCW, it felt like I was in a different car.
Yeah,
and just the whole feeling of it, as well as the looks and everything. So I'm glad they're continuing on with that.
Yeah,
so.
It's hard, and once you've driven a JCW, it's very hard to go back to non-JCW cars.
Yeah,
I know driving my Countryman, from jumping out of the GP into the Countryman, it makes the Countryman feel like a tank, but in comparison to other cars, it's still a really sporty car. It's a Countryman S all four. It's really fun, but the JCW, there's nothing like driving those. They handle in a whole different world.
Yep.
Cool. Well, that's a lot of exciting news this week for our first episode. So yeah, that's a great week, I guess, to start a podcast called Cooped Up on All About Minis. So this week's episode of Cooped Up is brought to you by Tire Pressure. Check yours to make sure it's not too high, not too low, and learn how to reset your tire pressure monitor in your system by just reading the manual. For more information, open your manual, search for tire pressure, and read up on that. And now we're going to change over to our social picks of the week. Ethan and I go through and share our favorite Mini-related material from our favorite social media sites and just kind of share them with the world. And this week for me, I'm going to share one from, used to be called Mayo Chickens, changed its moniker to YJCW. Has a really, really cool F56 that he's built out over the years and months, but unfortunately has just recently been involved in an accident and crashed this very unique JCW. This is, I don't know if the video will come through on here, but it's pretty sad. This happened just today. We'll see if we get a picture of it here. Have you
Wow.
followed? Have you ever seen his post, Ethan?
I've seen a few of them, yeah. Wow. That's too bad.
Yeah. So yeah, here's it's a little hard to see in this video, but that's his, customized, very unique F56 that he had a wide body kit on it, a GP3 grill put on it, the hood with the vents cut out of it. It's really disappointing.
Yeah.
Disappointing to see. I think it's pretty much total, but yeah, it has some really cool posts. So my pick of this week was, unfortunate pick, but it was his unfortunately wrecked F56. So hopefully he can get a new one day and start that rebuild again. But yeah, disappointing.
Yeah, everyone should go and follow him, cheer him up.
Yeah, if you can go check him out. Mayo Chickens. He's got a really cool posts from throughout the years. Give him a follow. He's got a huge following already, so yeah, give him a few more. But anything wild and unique on a JCW, he's done it before, so go check it out. What about you, Ethan? What are your social picks of the week? What do you have for us?
So I saw this user out of believe I'm not going to guess the country, but it's a looks like it's a basically a GP version of the new Clubman, the LCI Clubman. So it looks amazing. Like they got all the details, like everything from like mirror covers to the little decals on the side, and they tried to even like the side scuttles. They tried to make it look a little bit carbon fiber like, and all that kind of stuff. It looks insane.
Yeah, that's awesome. They put a number right on the side scuttle and everything.
Yeah,
this is a really nice looking car. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. If I hadn't already started going on the route that I was going to do, that was one of my ideas, was to do like basically a GP inspired Clubman. Right. So it's kind of really cool to see someone actually went and did that.
Yeah, that's a really cool pick. Yeah. Yeah, I can't tell you where this is based out of either, what country it is, but
well, they have palm trees, so it must be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Does it give their, I guess that's the account? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So yeah, there's the account. Give them a follow. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that. I won't try either, so I'm not gonna butcher that. So.
Yeah, let's be safe.
Yeah. Cool. Well, there's our social picks of the week. Keep posting your minis, and maybe we'll pick one of yours in the upcoming episodes. Yeah, that's it for this week's episode. Again, you can find me on YouTube as the Mini Vlog, and also on Instagram as the Mini Vlog, where I post just life with minis. And in this week's episode, I'm going to have a video on the very exclusive Paddy Hobkirk Edition Mini. I just got to check those out today, and I've got a video coming out for those this week. So that's what I have. Ethan, what do you have coming up this week, and where can we find you?
So you can find me on YouTube at Car Creations, and then once again on Instagram at Car Creations YT. And this week we have a video that I'm actually reaching out to try to get some suggestions for my car, and it's going to be entitled "Find the Perfect Rally Light Configuration." So basically, we're going to try to figure out exactly how I should go about putting them on my car. And you should, even if you don't want to have a look at that, you should watch the video, because in it I pull my brother around on a slide behind my car. Nice. And that's absolutely hilarious. So
nice. That sounds like fun.